Hold on, R2, I know. I want to show them this video too. A video of the 5 underrated Star Wars games. But before we do that, we have to complete our mission. We have to destroy this thing once and for all.
Hey guys, Retro Gaming Maniac here, and welcome back to another video. Now, with the recent and upcoming release of Star Wars The Last Jedi, which I'm super hyped to go see, and I really hope that they don't end up killing Luke Skywalker because I'm going to be really mad. But anyways, with the upcoming Star Wars movie, it made me want to go and look at my game collection and just see what Star Wars games I have in my collection. And I actually did a video like this last year when the last Star Wars movie came out, Episode 7. I did a Star Wars game collection video. But in this video, I want to bring you 5 underrated Star Wars games. Now, these aren't going to be hidden gems per se, and they're games that kind of get a bad rap, but I think maybe deserve a second chance. And they're not going to really be in any particular order. So I'm going to go ahead and start here with the first one, which is a PlayStation 1 game. It is also out on a Dreamcast, but I don't have the Dreamcast version. That is Star Wars Demolition. Now, if you don't know what this is, it's a game that was made by the same company. I believe it's called Lucoflux. But that company was the same one that made the Vigilante 8 series, which is essentially like the Twisted Metal series. It's a vehicular combat. So this game is essentially vehicular combat with Star Wars vehicles. It's pretty cool. You play across several different levels. You play across Hoth and Tatooine and a few other levels. There's levels you can unlock, lots of extra characters and vehicles you can unlock, and it's very random. You can be like on a snow speeder versus a ATST, or you can play as Boba Fett, and you just play as Boba Fett with a jetpack running around blasting people. This game got a lot of hate because of the controls and the graphics not being that great. They're kind of stiff. Really, once you understand the controls and how the game plays, it does feel a lot like the old Vigilante 8 series. It's really fun. And personally, I always preferred Vigilante 8 over Twisted Metal. But this is a game I think deserves a second look. And it's one that surprisingly a lot of people haven't heard of. It does have a 2-player versus mode. And I think it has a co-op mode. And you can play as the Rancor, which is really fun. Boba Fett, the Aura Sting. There's a land speeder. There's even a pod, like from the pod racing series you can play as. ATST, the battle tank, the desert skiff, and the snow speeder. So imagine being in a ATST and fighting a pod, or a pod racer. That's something you can actually do in this game. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it does have a storyline to go along with it, and it's one I think you should check out. That's Star Wars Demolition on the PlayStation 1. Okay, next up is another game. Now, this is one I played a lot when I was a kid growing up, and it's one I still enjoy playing. It's Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles. And the thing with this game is essentially goes along with the story mode of or the story of Episode 1, but it does let you play as several different Jedi. You can play as Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you can play as Qui-Gon Jinn, and a few other Jedi. But it has a co-op mode, 2-player co-op. The camera angle is kind of up to the side like this, kind of top down up to the side. But you have 3 different attacks. You can do a light attack, strong attack, and a fast attack. You can double jump, you can use force powers. You can hold L1 and like deflect, blasters, blaster beams or whatever that's coming at you. It's really fun. The graphics are not that great, but the gameplay is pretty smooth, especially when you lock onto an enemy. You can go and like parry and do like combos and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. It's a game that gameplay-wise was kind of ahead of its time, and it's one of the better Star Wars games that allows you to actually use a lightsaber. Like to me personally, the lightsaber battles in this are a lot better than the Battlefront series, because Battlefront's just kind of spammy. This one you can actually string attacks together. So it's a great game, definitely worth checking out. It has some platforming elements to it as well, and that is Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles. Okay, next up we're in the PlayStation 2 era, and I'm going to go ahead and start with a game that I didn't even know existed until I found it in the store, and that is Star Wars Racer Revenge, which is the sequel to Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racing. And this game, I'm torn. I like this game, but it just doesn't have the same feel to it. It's made, I believe it's made by a different company than the original one that came out on 64. And certain things, like the graphics are better, but it's missing certain things that the Nintendo 64 version had. Like it's missing some of the environmental effects, or the dust that kicks up from your pod when you're flying, or the snow. It's missing some of those things. So to me, the first one's going to always be better, but this is still one worth checking out if you're a fan of racing games, Star Wars games, or if you enjoyed the first game. It's definitely worth checking out. It does have some cool levels, some cool vehicles and pods that you can unlock, lots of unlockables. The narration in the game is pretty good. If you're doing really well, the narrator will talk about you, say, "Oh, you're in the lead," or somebody else has gotten taken out. One feature I know is missing from this, at least I couldn't figure it out, is in the original you're actually able to stand on end to fit through like a tight corridor or something, or to take a turn a little easier. That function you can't do that anymore in this one, which is weird. But it is a fun game. Not quite as good as the original, but the original was really great to me. So I think this is one you should check out. This is Star Wars Racer Revenge. Next up, we have another PlayStation 2 game. And this is one I remember when it came out a long time ago. And I didn't play it, but my friend played it, and he said he really liked it. So recently I picked it back up, and I've been playing it. And this game is actually really good, and that is Star Wars Bounty Hunter. And they originally came out with this game, and I believe it just came out on the PlayStation 2 and GameCube. But you play as Jango Fett, and he has his own storyline in this, which I don't know if it's canon or not. I could probably do some research, but if you know if it's canon or not, let me know. But the story in this is really good, and it lines up along with episodes, I think 2 and 3 if I'm not mistaken. Great game though. The story mode is good. The controls are not bad, but they're a little stiff, and they have a weird thing where like the right analog stick, everything's reversed. So if you want to turn right, instead of moving to the right, you have to hit left, and it's all reversed, which is really weird. Maybe you can change that in the settings, I'm not sure. But it's cool. You have different capabilities as the Bounty Hunter Jango Fett. You have the scan mode where you basically press a button and you can look through your helmet, and you can walk by, you can see players or other enemies or characters, and you can scan them, and it will tell you whether or not they have a bounty on their head or not. So this one guy will say no bounty found. This guy, he's going to have all his information pop up in your scanner, which is really cool. Makes the world feel a little more alive. Makes you really want to scan everybody and see who has a bounty on them. You have different weapons. You have your 2 blasters, which are really cool because you can lock on to an enemy and then like jump and sidestep and just blast them. Has like a western feel to it. You can also zoom in and just free look and blast around if you want. You have it's almost like a grapple line that you shoot from your wrist, but it kind of ties them up and allows you to go and subdue them and get your bounty. Also, you have a flamethrower. You have, what is the other one? There's another one. I forgot what it is. I think it's a tracking device. You can shoot at them, get like 3 of those. You shoot a tracker on them. Really cool game. The story is great. It has some platforming elements. Really well done cutscenes. The graphics are also surprisingly good for the era. This game came out in 2002. Graphics look great. Story is definitely worth checking out. It gives a nice view of what's going on from Jango Fett's perspective, and I can't recommend this one enough. Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Alright, next up on the list is a game that I've always enjoyed. When it first came out, I picked it up, and to me, I know this game gets a lot of hate, but I really enjoy this game. And to me, it's probably one of the best games that allow you to do like lightsaber battles, and that is Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. Now, it's a movie game. It follows the movie almost to a T, has a lot of cutscenes and clips from the movie in it, which is cool because at the time I had not seen the movie, so watching this I got to see a lot of what was actually in the movie with the clips. You play the single player campaign, which follows the story of Revenge of the Sith. You play as, I believe, Anakin, but also when you beat a level, it also unlocks the co-op or multiplayer mode of that level, so it's cool to go and play that and then go back and play it with your friends in co-op mode. It has some pretty good controls. The lightsaber battles, like I said, are really cool. It has force power is almost like the Force Unleashed. You can press R1, you can pick up a droid and then sling them one direction or push them back. You can do Jedi mind control, which is really cool, where you go and, you know, basically shoot like this beam at their head, and you can make them join your team, or it stuns them or makes them join your team depending on how powered up you are or leveled up you are. And there are, you know, there is a skill tree, you can level up different things. The force push is fun. The controls and everything is just really smooth. Great controls in this game. The graphics are pretty good, especially I would say more in the multiplayer mode, which is something we're going to talk about in a second, than the single player. But the graphics are good, the story's there. It's a fun game. It's kind of a hack and slash type game, but lots of fun. My favorite part about the game is the versus multiplayer mode. It has a two-player versus mode, where at first you only have like two characters to play as, but as you beat the game, you unlock a whole bunch of characters, a whole slew of characters, a bunch of levels. You can play as Anakin, Obi-Wan, I believe you can play as Mace Windu, you can play as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you can actually set up these fights on these iconic, you know, backdrops or the iconic levels. You can play as Obi-Wan Kenobi and fight Darth Vader on the Death Star, which is just really cool. And the saber combat is just really good in this game. If you're a good guy, then you have the Jedi, you know, force push, pick up, throw, all that. If you're the bad guy, you have that and more, like the electricity, shocks, everything. The lightsaber combat in this mode is really great because you can block with L1, and if while you're holding L1, if you rotate the analog stick, he'll swing his lightsaber around, which is good for blocking, and also if they're close to you, you can attack with them. You can reflect blast from blaster rifles and stuff. It's really cool. You can get into clashes with another person when you're fighting them. If you hit at the same time, you can kind of try to push them back. There's a character dialogue, kind of like an Injustice. Imagine Injustice, but with Star Wars, and this is what the multiplayer mode is like, the versus mode per se. Really great, underrated game. I know it's a movie game, but it's definitely worth checking out, especially, even to me, it's worth beating just to play the versus mode, unlock all the characters for the versus mode. Because this, to me, is still the best lightsaber or game that allows lightsaber battles. Blows away Battlefront easy as far as lightsaber battles go. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. That's just 5 underrated Star Wars games that I thought you might enjoy. Some of them are not that great, but they're ones I think that if you can get over a few things like controls and a few other things like graphics in some of them, it's definitely worth checking out. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, and let me know what you think about these games in the comments section. Some are better than others, obviously, but I think all of them deserve at least one playthrough. And I'm actually going to start playing Star Wars Bounty Hunter probably tonight. But thank you guys for watching, and I hope we see you on the next one. See ya.